Hello, everybody. Welcome in, wrestling fans, to That Wrestling Show. You know what you tweet?
No, I'm still working on it, but we'll get there.
Finish your tweet. I'll start us off. Hello. It seems like it's been a while. It's been about a month since we've been here live on NESN, but we are back, and we have a jam-packed show for you. I am Mike Wendt. You NESN viewers would know me from Wicked Bites every Saturday morning at 9:30. With me in this chat about the Graps, Liam Stryker.
Yes, I'm Liam Stryker of the New Age Insiders. I am happy to join you.
Well, thank
you. You can follow us on New Age Insiders. We got all sorts of nonsense going on.
Go ahead, finish your tweet.
Yeah.
Because today we are talking about a jam-packed weekend for wrestling fans. We have NXT TakeOver War Games. The first time in like 20 years. And it's like real War Games. You were nervous that it was going to be like just a exaggerated steel cage. No, 2 rings.
Yep, 2 rings.
2 rings.
No roof.
Giant cage. War Games. Old school War Games is back in a new school era. I absolutely love it. Plus, probably one of the most exciting pay-per-views of the year for me. And not because I'm a huge Survivor Series fan,
right,
but because of the way they've built this show. I thought the last 3 weeks, the build for Survivor Series has been incredible. The card is amazing. These are all possible night-stealing matches.
Yeah, WWE really decided that they wanted to try this time, because
they wanted to keep us on their toes.
Right. The build for Survivor Series has been fantastic. It's been, dare I say, perfect for the build to these. All of the Raws and the SmackDowns are designed to just get you to the pay-per-view.
Yes.
And they've done that.
That's the point of TV.
And it's amazing.
Build to the money show.
I am so excited for this pay-per-view.
So let's jump right in. We're going to talk NXT TakeOver War Games first, because that is tomorrow night, 8 p.m.
And it's amazing just the way that WWE has now built their schedules, where it's like these big 4 pay-per-views, you're expected to have a takeover.
Yeah.
And I don't think there has been a bad takeover. That has been my personal feeling.
Dare I say, most of them have outshined the actual main card pay-per-view.
Yes.
So you've gone from having the big 4 to now the big 8.
Right, just because you've doubled the weekend.
Which and that's just it. It's a full weekend of events. WWE, hats off to you. 8 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday night on the WWE Network. NXT TakeOver War Games. Let's jump right into it. Cassius Ohno, Lars Von Sullivan.
Yeah.
I have to say Von if your name is Lars. I'll just do it. But
right.
Lars Sullivan. Liam, tell me about this one.
This is a glorified #1 contenders match.
Okay.
For somebody who came back to such fanfare in Cassius Ohno,
Yeah.
he was in WWE, he left, went back to being Chris Hero, basically made all of the money and all of the popularity on the indie scene as Chris Hero. WWE said enough of that nonsense, get back here, so he's back, and they haven't used him to the best of his ability. He is one of the most phenomenal workers, which is very weird because he doesn't look like he should be as agile as he is.
He looks like Duke the Dumpster Droese.
He does. He looks like somebody
I'll
that
be
should
honest,
be.
he is a fantastic worker.
Right.
I cannot stand those basketball jerseys.
Yeah, that's the worst.
I think his whole gimmick is terrible.
Right, and that's a WWE product because he just wrestled in the trunks on the indies. And it's
he was just a fat guy throwing elbows.
Right, he was a fat guy throwing rolling elbows, and everybody loved it. Shout out to his tag team partner, JT Dunn.
Yep.
He's still wrestling on the indie scene. I hope you get well. He injured his leg, and so he's going to be out for a while.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't go to a lot of indie shows, but I've seen a few. Yeah. And if I'm wrong, the internet, you know what? You can come tweet at me at Mike Wendt.
Right.
Were they the elbows of death or something like that?
Death by elbow.
Okay, so I was right.
Yeah, you were close.
Indie cred, hashtag.
Yeah, death by elbow. The funniest thing is like
I saw them in Providence at a Beyond show.
JT Dunn is phenomenal, and his whole gimmick was basically like, I'm Chris Hero too. And
so he was kind of like when Zack Ryder and Curtis Hawkins did it.
Yeah, right.
When they were Edge.
Yeah, when they were both Edge. Yeah, kind of the same thing. But it works. I mean, JT Dunn is then kind of like morphed now into his own performer. And again,
well, you have to.
Yeah, and he's one of the best workers on the indies if you haven't.
Unless he wanted to just take up the Chris Hero flag.
Yeah, right.
He's like the other Darren on Bewitched.
Right, but if you, obviously, unfortunately, he's on the shelf at the moment, but go check out his stuff. Go support him.
JT Dunn.
JT Dunn.
There
He's fantastic. But this match, he is, it's a glorified #1 contenders match, and I don't think WWE has given Chris Hero or Cassius Ohno the ability to kind of shine in the way that Chris Hero is allowed to shine. So hopefully they'll let him kind of go for this one, and hopefully Chris Hero comes out on top.
Lars Sullivan, you were telling me off air that he's almost kind of like the NXT version of Braun Strowman.
Yeah, he kind of is. He looks a lot like a troll person.
Big, jacked up, undefeated dude who just wants competition.
Yeah, he just wants to hurt people.
Okay.
I
like him already.
He looks like that way that like Bruno Sammartino looks, where it's like, you look like a man who was just like wrestled and grappled.
He is basically the stereotypical person of I pick things up and put them down.
Right. He
lifts heavy cinder blocks.
Right.
You know?
He looks like the monster that is in some sort of Russian gulag. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he looks like. So,
love it.
I think it should be pretty good. It should be hard hitting. I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for Chris Hero to shine. So
there you go. Starting off the card strong. Aleister Black versus, is it Velveteen Dream or the Velveteen Dream?
I call him the Velveteen Dream.
It is a great name for a butter company, I think.
You're very right. Yeah. Yes.
Now tell me about this, because while watching NXT the past few weeks, the commentators were very heavy on Velveteen Dream wants Aleister Black to say his name.
Yes.
What is that? First of all, I love Aleister Black's gimmick.
Yeah,
I love the punk rock vampire. I love how much punk rock is in NXT.
Yeah,
I think that is so great of a contrast to WWE.
Yeah, they've definitely made a conscious shift to that, like, alternative.
We'll get to Sanity, but I think Sanity has one of the best entrances in all of professional wrestling.
Yeah, they're great.
But tell me about this match.
The Aleister Black is undefeated, and he's the biggest thing in NXT, kind of at the moment.
Okay.
But Velveteen Dream is basically like 1999 Goldust.
Okay, so androgynous.
Very kind of sexual, at least having sexual undertones.
So he's a sexy character for NXT.
He's a very sexy character. I mean, this is, I think, as close as they would allow somebody to get to.
In 2017.
In 2017. He's like borderline transsexual.
Okay.
You know, so it works.
They're dipping their toe in, but they're not jumping in the pool quite yet.
Right. They're not going full Goldust coming out in a gimp suit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you know, but that's kind of the underlying tone of
what
this
kind of
match.
a worker is Velveteen Dream?
Velveteen Dream, he's kind of fast-paced. He's very kind of tall and lanky, so he kind of wrestles a lot like Aleister Black.
Okay. If you were to compare him for the casual fan, if you were to compare him to a main roster person?
I would say Goldust.
Okay.
I would say similar to Goldust.
Because Dustin's he's a tall, lanky dude.
He's kind of a tall, lanky dude. He, can kind of hit those power moves, but is kind of built more on speed.
Hashtag DDP Yoga.
Yeah, hashtag DDP Yoga, you know what I'm saying? Velveteen Dream, he's awesome. He is awesome. And I think that giving him the ability to kind of showcase against Aleister Black, I don't think Aleister Black is going to stop his momentum, but it gives Velveteen Dream a great introduction.
Aleister Black comes across as a very dangerous man.
He is.
It's a very violent individual.
He's a weird vampire person.
I love, again, a great entrance.
Yes.
Just the leaning up thing, the vampire lean up is fantastic.
Yeah. Between Aleister Black, though, and Ember Moon, I wish that they would just go all in on it.
I am so an Ember Moon fan.
Ember Moon should be a werewolf. You know what I mean? Like, you've set the table that Finn Balor is sometimes a demon when it's important.
When it's convenient.
Yeah, when it's convenient. So Aleister Black should just be a vampire.
Yeah.
And
Go
Ember
full
Moon,
on Kevin Thorne.
Yeah, and Ember Moon should just be a werewolf. Where it's just like, this is a pay-per-view, so now I got to be a werewolf.
Okay.
It's a full moon.
Who do you think's coming out?
I think Aleister Black comes out of
So
this.
he's not going to say his name.
He's not going to say his name.
Fair enough. We don't need to say his name. We just said his name for him. NXT Women's Championship. A very cool match. Kairi Sane, who won the Mae Young Classic. Peyton Royce. Ember Moon, who I am a giant fan of. I think every time I see Ember Moon, she gets better than the last time I saw her.
That's absolutely true.
And another one of my favorite women wrestlers, Nikki Cross.
Yeah, Nikki Cross is fantastic. I think that she is my favorite to win this thing. I think that...
Is it time for Ember Moon to move up?
I think it's time for Ember Moon to move up. And I don't need her to win the NXT Women's title to move up, but I think that this is her goodbye.
Okay.
I think this is her actual
I kind of
goodbye.
was watching the build up to this match. I kind of felt the same thing, and I'm ready for it. I was ready for it 2 takeovers ago. I'm like, get this woman to the top.
Right. We'll get to it when we talk about the actual
we will.
Women's Survivor Series match. But there's a spot on SmackDown now on that team.
Yes, there is.
And I think that there's 2 people that can potentially fill it.
I think we're
Ember Moon or Paige.
We're parking our cars in the same garage. Yeah.
Right. So I think that putting the NXT title on her, plus she doesn't need it. We don't need her to have it anymore. Let Kairi Sane, Peyton Royce, and Nikki Cross kind of carry the rest of this division. And
they also have an influx from that tournament.
Right.
So there's a lot of women that are just like scratching at the door ready to get in.
Right. There's a couple of dark matches that are on this card that we're not going to see. It might be for NXT TV.
Sure.
But there are a lot of women. There are a lot of good women. So let them.
Look, I love the Mae Young Classic.
It was great.
Out of all the classics that they've done, they did the UK one, they did the Cruiserweight one. Yep. I was fully engrossed in this one. I'm like, this is great. And not all the matches were 5-star classics.
Right.
But most of them were very entertaining.
Yeah, they were. There were. I think the lower end of the matches kind of suffered a little bit in terms.
You're
of
going to get that though.
But the finals were great. The final 4 women, that was great.
I mean, I was hoping for Tessa Blanchard to win, but that's just me.
Yeah.
They can't just book for me. Come on. Moving. So, okay, who do you think? Who's your final prediction on that one?
I think Nikki Cross is going to come out.
I'm agreeing with you, on that one. I'm hoping at the very least, because again, I love the character. I love that she's part of Sanity, and I just love that whole gimmick. NXT Championship. Drew McIntyre versus a guy I always butcher his name, Andre Cien Almas.
Yeah, Almas.
Okay, I've been practicing.
Right. I think this is just
interesting storytelling the last few weeks on NXT.
Right. I just think that these are the only 2 people left, if that makes sense, in the NXT men's division, because everybody else is
moved on.
They've either moved on
in a tag team,
or they're in the War Games match. Because the real person that should be facing Drew McIntyre is Adam Cole.
Baby.
Adam Cole, baby. But he's doing something else.
He's in a big match.
Yeah, he's doing something else. So you can't have him do it, and then there's nobody really else except for Aleister Black, Cassius Ohno, and Lars Sullivan. Those are the only other guys, and we got to they're engrossed in their own stories. So while Andre Cien Almas
you got to close one door before you open another one.
Right. Cien Almas isn't bad. I think he's a fine worker. If you went to the NXT house show that was in Lowell last month, you would have seen this match. This was the main event. It was good. It was a good match. They worked well together. It was very fun. I like this heel Almas gimmick that he's been going with. So he's been doing a great job with it. So I think it's going to be a fine match, but I don't expect any surprises.
It feels, the Almas gimmick, it feels almost like a cross between a Del Rio and a Carlito.
Yeah.
Kind of melded together.
Well, a little bit.
Where he's not quite the aristocrat of Del Rio, but he dresses very nice, but he's more like that.
He's sexy.
Okay, another sexy character. I gotta love NXT and their sexy characters.
Yeah, they're sexy.
So who do you think's coming out of it? Drew McIntyre the champ, or?
I think Drew McIntyre.
He's gonna hang on to it for a bit?
Yeah, because I think he loses it to Adam Cole.
At the WrestleMania takeover?
At the WrestleMania takeover.
That'd be a good one.
So.
A hell of a match.
Yeah.
War Games.
Or the Rumble takeover.
Let's get to War Games. 20 years since we saw War Games in WCW.
Right.
Dusty Rhodes created it, as they've spotlighted many times on NXT TV. It's one of the coolest ideas for a match that has never seen modern day.
Yes. I love War Games. I love watching War Games. I've watched all of the War Games on the network.
I wasn't even a WCW fan. When the wars started, I picked my side. It was not WCW.
Right.
But War Games was something I was like, that's good. They
cool.
win this round.
It's so cool.
They win this battle.
I do think that it's frustrating that the reason why we haven't done it is purely monetary, right? Because you take away so many seats with the 2 rings. So it makes sense as to why you haven't done it yet.
Sure.
But
to a point.
But I do like when they naturally build to things and put those matches in the things that they've built. Right. You have 3 huge teams. They all should be in a Hell in the Cell type structure.
Sure.
I also love that War Games is going to be the NXT equivalent of a Hell in a Cell.
Sure.
Maybe you don't see a traditional Hell in a Cell, but every now and then you see a War Games. And that will be cool.
And again, Triple H just cementing his legacy as the fans' favorite booker.
Right. Funter is the best.
Could he do no wrong?
Yeah, Funter is my favorite.
Funter?
Yeah, he's Fun Hunter.
Oh, Fun Hunter, I get it. Oh, so on NXT, he's Fun Hunter.
Yeah, on the main roster, he's a bad guy.
He's the Latin king. Yeah. Okay, so War Games, we got Sanity, the Undisputed Era, and the Authors of Pain with Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
Go.
I think that this is the debut of, for all intents and purposes, the debut of the Undisputed Era. So I like that they teased the fact that, we all associated this as a Ring of Honor stable. They, basically tried to recruit Mr. Ring of Honor in Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
So I think that we build on that storyline. I think Roderick Strong joins the Undisputed Era in this match.
Wow.
And
hot takes.
Yeah, and I think we build that unofficial Ring of Honor invasion that we kind of want but won't ever get.
Right.
And so I think that starts here.
Okay, so it's almost like the Undisputed Era's coming out party.
Right.
You know, we've been here for a while. We've done a little bit of this, that, the other thing to build to it. Now it's time to show what we got.
Right.
Sanity, though. I mean, that's, again, we talked about him a little bit earlier. First of all, my favorite entrance in all of pro wrestling right now.
Yeah.
I think it's just cool, the way they use the cameras, the lighting, the smoke, the whole deal. They are they are like a better version of the Wyatt family.
Right.
And even going back to TNA, always been an Eric Young guy.
Yeah, Eric Young has always been fine.
He was always one of those standouts in that botch of a company.
Yeah.
So you're thinking this is just going to be basically all about Undisputed Era?
More or less. I think that they come out on top. I think that the fact that the tag team titles aren't on the line protects sanity so that they don't have to win.
Right.
You know, for those of you who aren't familiar with the War Game gimmick, basically
break it down for me.
Basically, this is weird just in the sense that it's traditionally 2 teams.
Yes.
And it's 2 teams of 5.
5.
And they alternate who comes in.
Yep.
Right? Every other entrance comes in
every few minutes.
Yeah.
But this team gets
this team guy, then that team. So I think it'll be like 1-1-1.
They've updated it a little bit.
1-1-1, and then we're good. So that basically one team will have an advantage the entire time. You cannot win until everybody is in the match.
So until all 9 guys are in, it's just brawling.
It's just brawling.
It's just beating the crap out of everybody.
Right.
Okay.
And so the way you win is you have to make somebody give up.
Yep.
Somebody has to give up. So I think that protects sanity, where I don't necessarily see the Authors of Pain giving up, but I could see them, somebody getting Paul Ellering and them giving up that way.
Gotcha. Now, we talked about Ember Moon moving up. Do you think this is the time for Authors of Pain to move up?
It is.
This is their farewell?
This is their farewell.
Okay, so they're probably going to be the ones to go down to their backs.
Yeah, probably.
They added a little not a stipulation, but a new twist on the War Games. I guess there's going to be pods at the ramp, so the teams are going to be encased in pods.
Yeah, well, because it was very weird if you've ever watched.
Because last week when we were talking, you thought it was going to be basically a version of
the Elimination Chamber.
Elimination Chamber, yes. So it's not, because it's the classic War Games, 2 rings, 1 cage type of scenario. But I believe the top of the ramp, the teams will be encased in 3 pods.
Yeah.
And the time will open up the pod, the guy will go out.
Right.
Pod,
well, because it was weird.
Pod,
because it was so weird that there was 1 cage door in the original War Games. There was 1 cage door, and both teams were just standing there.
They're just kind of hanging out.
Looking at each other.
So
and it's like, why don't you just brawl?
They fixed that little loophole. So you think Undisputed Era comes out, you think Roderick Strong joins
and helps.
The only thing I hope out of this is a lot of violence.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of violence, and I think it's a great way to say goodbye to the Authors of Pain for NXT, say hello to them main roster.
Right.
Overall, I mean, I don't think we're going to have a bad night of War Games TakeOver NXT tomorrow night. It's going to be a fun Saturday night.
It's going to be a really fun weekend of wrestling.
It really is.
Like all the way around.
So, overall match of the night, besides War Games, because I think we know that's what.
I think that Cassius Ohno and Lars Sullivan.
They're going to steal the show?
I think so. I think everybody's going to kind of re-fall in love with Cassius Ohno.
I'm banking on the women. Just
I mean, that's
knocking
a
it out.
smart choice.
I think so. And again, like I said, Ember Moon, one of my favorite parts of NXT right now. So it's one of those things I look forward to on the show, seeing her work. I think the character is so unique. Yes, they don't lean fully into the werewolf thing, but I believe she's a unique enough character in this environment to really steal the show. Now it's time for Sunday night, special start time of 7 p.m. WWE's 30th anniversary of Survivor Series live on the WWE Network, and we have a stacked card. Kickoff show starting off with the Cruiserweight title, the only title on the line.
Yeah.
Enzo Amore versus Kalisto to kick us off in a great way, huh?
I don't care. This is the trap that the cruiserweights fall into.
Right.
You have so many cruiserweights that you can mix and match. But we get into these ruts where it's champion versus challenger, champion versus challenger. Well, obviously that's the way you do it.
Sure.
But the same 2 people over and over
There's
again.
nobody else fighting for that number
There's
one spot.
nobody fighting for that, where it's like, how come, Brian Kendrick hasn't gotten back into this? Or Jack Gallagher, who was the most popular person in the cruiserweight division for a period of time, just never fought for that title. Like, he fought for it once on 205 Live, and that was it. So that's the trap that WWE falls in.
I think as far as Jack Gallagher, he went heel almost the same time Enzo joined.
Right.
If he had stayed babyface for like 2 more weeks, he might be the guy we're talking about.
Right. It's frustrating just watching that whole division kind of get mismanaged.
How does Gulak play into this?
I don't know. It's like his buddy, but nobody really likes Enzo.
Yeah, but is he going to cost Enzo the match?
Probably not.
No?
I think Enzo's going to win.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
No shenanigans from the guy holding the sign?
No, I don't think it is shenanigans from the guy holding the sign.
Fair enough. Let's move on to the actual show of shows. WWE Survivor Series, we're starting it off. It's all going to be SmackDown versus Raw, and very cool way they did it. Champions versus champions. The card has changed like 3 times this week alone.
I know, it's been amazing.
Awesome build-up. Tag team champions, The Bar versus the Usos. This is going to be, these are 2 of the best teams in wrestling today.
Right.
Just brawling.
Well, this is the best part.
I think what the Usos proved with New Day at the last pay-per-view when they tied them up, and it was violent for the sake of violence.
Right.
There's a lot of like weird torture angles going on there.
Yeah, there's a lot. Ooh.
And that plays right into Sheamus and Cesaro's wheelhouse.
Right. The whole thing about this entire pay-per-view is you maximized it. You maximized the roster that you have.
Oh my God, yeah.
And you maximize the talents that you have. Because with the exception of Kevin Owens, who I think plays a huge factor in the main event, he's the only person that isn't on this card that should be. Yep. But again, I think that's more storyline driven than it is performance based, if that makes sense.
No, it absolutely does.
So that plays into the overall arching storyline of SmackDown. We'll get to the SmackDown end of things.
We will.
But or the Survivor Series match, but the Bar versus the Usos, I was excited when it was Usos versus the Shield. But
this is a better match, I feel.
But this is a better match, especially knowing what the Shield are going to do later. So I think that you maximize this tag team title match. I think this is going to be great. It's going to be hard-hitting, fast-paced, and athletic.
Absolutely.
And that's what you look for.
I agree. The Miz versus Baron Corbin, the Intercontinental Champion versus the United States Champion. It was almost Sin Cara, if anybody was going to believe that.
Nobody cared.
But I think, again, The Miz proving himself to be an unbelievable character, a fantastic addition to Raw, and just the war of words they've had on social media has really built this up. And I'm not a huge fan of WWE building stories on social media, except in situations like this where it's 2 shows going back and forth, because it's hard to build this type of a pay-per-view on each show.
Yeah.
Without just going, like, again, all-out war.
Yes.
Which I loved. That's the underlining thing about this whole thing. I love this type of television. This WWE going gang warfare is fantastic. It's just everybody brawling for the sake of their own team.
Right.
No good guys, no bad guys. It's all passe, pal. We're just going and beating the crap out of each other for our side.
Yeah, right.
Love it.
And the one thing that I hope WWE takes away from Survivor Series as a whole is just let people win and lose. Because Finn Balor versus AJ Styles, somebody just won and somebody just lost.
Yep.
And nothing changed.
Right.
Nothing changed. We didn't look less on AJ Styles because he lost that match.
No.
So having the, Miz beat Baron Corbin doesn't make Baron Corbin less of a champion.
Okay.
Right? And it doesn't make everybody look upon him less. Just don't have it be in the one that I'm going to talk about later is the Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles match, where it's like, the only answer is don't let Jinder Mahal cost AJ Styles this match. AJ can lose to Brock Lesnar, and that's okay. Yeah. Just don't have Jinder Mahal cost him the match.
We're skipping ahead.
Because that is the wrong answer. And so, The Miz can just beat Baron Corbin.
Look, I turned into a Brock Lesnar fan all of a sudden.
I know, it's very weird.
The Miz, Baron Corbin, who do you think is actually going to win?
I think The Miz is going to win.
So the Miz Taraj is going to overcome the Lone Wolf.
I think so. Okay. I think so.
Okay. The women's match, again, one that changed just this past Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
And for the better, in my opinion. While I love Natty, and I think Natty is one of the best workers we've had in this company, Charlotte Flair, I've said it many times, my favorite performer in WWE is Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that this match has happened so soon because I wanted Alexa Bliss and Charlotte to keep as far away from each
You've
other
said that
as
many
possible.
times, but it's been almost a year.
It has been. This are the two best women you have.
Yeah.
These are
Clearly, they're the champs.
Yeah, they're the two best women you have right now. You know, with all respect to Asuka, right now these two are it. And
total package, performance-wise.
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch this match. It's going to be great.
Now, to me, it seems like a shoo-in for Charlotte to win.
I think so. This is just another notch in her legacy belt.
But, and here's a little wrinkle, because we have a little opening in the women's match, which we'll get to in a couple of minutes. Is this where we see somebody come back and cement themselves on one of the two shows?
Are we talking about in the championship match?
In the championship match.
I think if we're going to get any sort of screwy nonsense, it's going to be Carmella. She's going to she's going to inject herself.
That'd be an interesting way to cash in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I was going in a different direction, but now you said that, and I actually changed my thought train. So you think Charlotte?
I do
with
think
possibly a Carmella cash in.
I do.
Point. Okay, fair enough. I like it. Here is the one that we talked about a little bit earlier: the Shield versus the New Day. Again, a match that came just this past Monday, I think.
Yeah, it came last week. Monday.
Okay.
Monday, they were like, this is official. So
okay.
The Shield versus the New Day. This is great. This is like when very similar to when in the first Shield run, when all of a sudden they were going to attack John Cena and CM Punk, and the Wyatts showed up to attack John Cena and CM Punk, and they had this very, very weird no, I'm going to do it. No, I'm going to do it. And then they just brawled. And it was like, this is the best thing I didn't know I wanted.
Right.
And that match was fantastic. And I think that this match will be fantastic.
I agree. And again, going back to the Hell in a Cell match that the New Day had with the Usos, that was something to me that showed a different side of the New Day. Because while they come out and every week you get lost in the fact that they're fun guys and they throw cereal on children and they dance and they got a trombone and it's all laughs and yucks and all that good stuff.
And they're unicorns and stuff.
And then they get in Hell in a Cell and whip ass.
Right.
I mean, that was fantastic for their characters. It's like that showed that aggressive side of them that I feel something I've always wanted out of these types of characters. These fun-loving characters need to have that aggressive side because at the end of the day, it's a combat show. At the end of the day, you settle your arguments with fists and kicks.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So you need to be able to throw fists and kicks. And if you can't, and you're just a fun-loving guy, you're going down. Like, in my head, whether you win or lose, it's like they didn't deserve that.
Yeah, if you're just here to dance.
Right.
If you're just here to dance and have a good time, you're right. Because this is a show where grown men solve their problems with violence.
They strip down their underwear, baby oil up, and beat the crap out of each other to finish their differences.
Yeah, right. So, you're right. I think that this is going to be great. I expect the Shield Classic, as I'm calling them.
Okay.
Because over the past month, because Roman has been sick, we have just had different iterations of the Shield.
Right.
Kurt Angle was in the Shield. AJ Styles was in the Shield. Triple H was in the Shield a couple of times.
That was fun.
You know, so this is Shield Classic.
Shield Classic.
You know, kind of like the Coca-Cola Classic. They had the new Coke, but then they had to bring it back with the Classic. Similar.
I see where you're going.
Similar situation.
Picking up what you're putting down.
And so I think that they overcome the New Day because this is the first time that they're together as a team.
Okay. So so far we have, who did we pick for the tag team, the Bar or the Usos?
I picked the Usos.
Okay, so we got a SmackDown, we got a Raw, we got a SmackDown, and back to a Raw. Okay, so pretty even so far.
So far.
Now, the Beast versus the Phenomenal One. Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles.
This match is going to be amazing.
Speaking of matches you didn't know you wanted until they gave it to you, we were building up to Jinder Mahal.
And nobody cared.
And even Paul Heyman on the mic was just like, really? This is what you're going to... You have Brock Lesnar for X amount of dates, and this is how you're going to sell him with Jinder Mahal?
Yeah.
And now we get AJ Styles.
The other part about it, and I talked about this on New Age Insiders leading up to this, Jinder Mahal and Brock Lesnar were not going to put together a good match. And the reason is that Jinder Mahal, in order to have a good match, he is plotting and he is methodical and he needs to wear you down, right? So everything is slow, a lot of trap pinches and fists to the side of the head and, working you grounding and pounding. And
he also plays the role of the sneaky heel,
right,
with a lot of shenanigans and stuff. And you're not going to get the Singh. I mean, I'd love to see Brock destroy
everybody.
The Singh brothers. You're not going to have that happen.
Right. So you're going to tell me that in order for this Jinder Mahal match to be with Brock Lesnar to be good, he has to physically dominate Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I already don't believe you as WWE champion.
Right.
I won't forgive you if you have Jinder Mahal physically dominate Brock Lesnar. Now, AJ Styles, he's built on speed, quickness, athleticism, high-flying, quick strikes, and that is so different from Brock Lesnar, who is big and strong and throw you around.
Although Brock also
is very fast.
As far as a giant,
yes,
is extremely fast and extremely agile.
It's very different. It's a different
which makes
type.
him even more scary.
Right.
It's like running away from a bear.
Exactly.
You're going to get eaten.
And so having the two of them...
Hashtag Brock Lesnar eats people.
Having the two of them, they mix together very, very well.
Yeah.
And this match has the potential to be great if you don't have Jinder Mahal cost AJ Styles this match.
I think, again, and this goes more to the personal side of Brock, we've seen when he wrestled Dean Ambrose. Brock has to be into the match.
Right.
And if you gave him Jinder Mahal, I could have very easily seen Brock being like,
whatever.
Suplex payday.
Yeah, right.
But you give him AJ Styles, and with Paul in his ear, I believe this is something he can sink his teeth into, if you will.
Yeah.
And he's going to enjoy it because AJ is going to bring a different style that he hasn't seen since being back in WWE. It's going to appeal to that athletic UFC style that he's all about.
Right, and it's going
to give him an excuse to do more than just suplex.
Right.
Now, granted, we could be completely wrong, and this could take 3 seconds.
Yeah, right. Brock Lesnar, I don't know how much he cares about his legacy, but this could cement him. This match could help cement his legacy as one of the greatest of all time.
Yep.
Right? Because he wrestles a very specific style of match.
Yep.
But having that specific style of match with somebody with the caliber and fan love of AJ Styles could shift everybody to being like, yeah, no, Brock is one of the greatest to ever do it.
And your ultimate prediction of this match, besides greatness?
I think AJ Styles is going to win.
Really?
Yeah.
Shenanigan free.
Shenanigan free.
I like it. I think I'm going to disagree with you, though, and go with Brock.
I know. I figured so. That's why.
I'm going to go with Brock.
I'm going to go with AJ.
You can, no matter how much you
I don't really believe it, but I'm going to go with AJ.
No matter how much I thought you were turning that corner on Brock.
Oh, I think Brock should win because if we're still going to get to that stupid match with Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania because Roman has to be the one to beat Brock Lesnar,
sure,
then yeah, Brock should win because he shouldn't go in having lost. That being said, give the win to AJ Styles.
Okay. You convinced me, but I disagree.
That's fine.
Now we're going to get to the first traditional Survivor Series elimination match. The women's side of things, Team Raw, which is captained by Alicia Fox with Nia Jax, Asuka, Sasha Banks, and Bayley, versus Team SmackDown, captained by Becca Lynch with Naomi, Carmella, Tamina Snuka, and potentially
somebody else.
Now, we kind of teased it a little earlier. We're talking about NXT. I think we're parking our cars in the same garage.
Yeah.
I think we both believe it's either going to be Ember Moon or returning Paige.
Yeah, I think that it could easily be Natalya. Could easily be, but I think
But this has been they've been doing so well
right.
with building this pay-per-view as anything can happen. The card can change at any moment.
Right.
Ember Moon would be great to see. She would get a reaction. Paige would blow the roof off.
Correct. And I think that's why it's going to end up being Paige.
I'm fine with it.
She's been backstage. She started working out at WWE Performance Center. So all of the signs point to she's going to return at SmackDown. Also, she should be on SmackDown because SmackDown needs the women more.
They do.
So
Derek actually on our Facebook Live has a great prediction. Nikki Bella.
Yeah, Nikki Bella is another one where if she wants to come back, this would be a great spot for her to come back as well.
Now, would this be a spot? Who was it that I was just about to think of and just drew a complete blank?
We're live, pal.
Terrible, man. All right, forget it. Moving on. Who do you think's going to get it?
I think Team SmackDown. I think whoever the TBA is going to be the reason they win.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say.
Oh, fun.
Because I've seen her, because I follow her on Instagram, and I've been seeing her training. Caitlyn.
Oh, Caitlyn would be a fun one.
I would love to see Caitlyn come back.
That'd be cool.
Just for one more run. You know, just one quick little thing.
You know, she didn't get a fair shake the first time. She was in a weird division. I think she was a better performer.
And I mean, she doesn't even look like Caitlyn anymore. If you follow her on Instagram, looks phenomenal, still athletically in shape as all hell. I mean, she's a fitness person.
Right.
So, but yeah, she's been showing stuff, doing some in-ring training in California.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe a little Caitlyn in there.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'd be good for her. I'm a Caitlyn fan. I dig it. So what'd you say about the...
I think Team SmackDown.
Team SmackDown. Who's going to be a sole survivor or multiple survivors?
It's at least going to be TBA. So whoever TBA is.
The anonymous.
Yeah.
Okay. So sole survivor.
I think that it might be...
TBA is the sole survivor.
I think it might be like Becky Lynch and TBA, but that would be... That's who it is.
Yeah. I don't... See, I'm leaning more towards we've been talking about it for months.
Right.
This is the time to put Nia Jax on that pedestal.
Right.
And I see Nia Jax possibly with Asuka.
Yeah, I mean, this would be interesting because, like, we've seen Nia Jax lose before, so...
It never looks good.
It never looks good.
Nia Jax tapping out to Becky Lynch, I'm sorry, just doesn't look natural.
Right. I'm going to be interested to
Especially because the hold she does, the disarmer, right?
Yeah.
The disarmer, put on Nia Jax, it's like, stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up.
Right. Just,
you know what I mean?
You're way bigger than she is.
Becky Lynch is literally the size of her arm.
Right.
Stand up.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if Raw loses, if Raw is to lose, how they eliminate Asuka. Because she has that undefeated streak still going. Mm-hmm. And so...
But there's always these loopholes in these matches.
Yeah, because she needs to be eliminated for them to lose.
True.
So at some point she has taken a pinfall, or the only way it would work is if she got disqualified.
Gotcha.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Asuka beats the bejesus out of everybody.
This also has an interesting dynamic that we really haven't seen. Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka on opposite sides.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Couple of bruises.
Couple of bruises,
Couple
Samoan
bruises and
women.
broads just knocking each other around. So you're going Team SmackDown. I'm going Team Raw. We gotta do like a pizza bet or something on this stuff.
Very fun.
I like pizza bets because I like pizza.
I don't have a good tracker with pizza bets.
So I think I got a good chance at this one. Moving on to the men. Team Raw. Captained by Kurt Angle with Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, your boy Triple H.
Oh my God.
The Latin King of Kings.
Look, here's the thing. All right. I was very, very disappointed when they announced that it was going to be John Cena on the one side and that Jason Jordan was going to be the other guy to like replace the last spot. And I was like, look, I don't want to actually say it should be Triple H, but I was thinking that it should be Triple H because Jason Jordan is not Triple H and he's not that good. So he should be replaced by Triple H. Then for Stephanie McMahon to just be like, Kurt, you're screwing up. You're screwing up. You're being dumb. We need to have somebody else. And then Triple H just comes out and goes, I'm the last Survivor Series team member for Team Raw. And then he just pedigreed Jason Jordan, and I was like, yay, we're here.
Last Monday night, that entire Jason Jordan crying, my dad, that whole thing, all I'm sitting doing, I want a live video of Liam because I knew what was going to happen.
Oh, it was very close. It was very close to the Jason Maltov Goldberg It's Happening.
Which I was there live for.
I
videotaped the entire 8-minute ordeal.
It is, woo.
It's classic. Go to YouTube. Find that one.
Yeah, ask me. I'll tweet it out. It's a ton of fun.
Actually, we should do it after the show. Go to at Liam NAI.
Yeah.
Find that video.
Oh, it's amazing.
Team SmackDown. We haven't even got there yet.
Yeah.
Captained by Shane McMahon with, as you said, John Cena, Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, the glorious Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
This went from, like you said, a match I really wasn't thrilled about. Jason Jordan just brought that match quality so far down. Nothing against Jason Jordan as a worker, but in a match with this caliber of talent, it's a sore thumb.
Yeah.
It's a sore thumb. So the second it was, okay, here's Triple H, it just, one person, replacing one person, turned this from it's a, wow, this is going to be fun.
The only person missing is Kevin Owens. But I think that he is going to be integral to the finish of the match.
I see Jason Jordan getting into it.
Yep.
I see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn getting into it.
Right.
I see this, this 10-man match turning into a 13, 14-person schmoz of shenanigans.
Yeah.
Who do you ultimately have coming out of this one?
I have team SmackDown coming out of this.
Okay.
Just because I think that we're going to the loss of Team Raw, captained by Kurt Angle, who's on thin ice right now, is storyline wise, is more important and has more progression if they lose.
As we've said on this show many times, it's all about telling the next great story.
Right.
And if Kurt loses, he has to go back and face Stephanie the next night on Raw.
Whereas I think that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn can eliminate Shane McMahon and accomplish...
And tells that next story.
Right, and accomplishes what they're trying to do, where they're actively trying to sabotage SmackDown.
As we saw last Tuesday.
But they don't need to succeed for it to happen.
So who do you feel is going to be either sole or multiple survivors?
Triple H. No.
He loses. He loses. You just said he's losing.
I think that it's going to
be... You can't have it both ways.
It's going to be John Cena and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yuck.
They're going to be the sole survivors for SmackDown.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I was with you up until that. I was going to go Shinsuke and Bobby Roode.
Yeah, I don't think... Bobby Roode's good, but I think he's the first one out for that team.
I think he needs it. I think Randy Orton's the first one out.
Randy Orton's the survivor. His track record in Survivor Series is crazy.
I haven't Googled it. What is it?
I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but...
Fake news. I think, again, though, it's just going to... Adding Triple H, having Samoa Joe, that in the invasion they did Tuesday night, I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like I said before, this type of gang warfare, it brings you back to the days of all the factions and all that.
Right.
I mean, when you would end Raw after 2 hours in just a brawl.
Right.
This is the stuff that gets people talking about wrestling.
I want Braun Strowman to just toss Shane McMahon around for a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
I just want it to happen.
I can see that happening.
Everybody, all my favorite wrestlers are on Team Raw.
And you're not pulling for them.
I think that there's more to the story of them losing.
Okay. I appreciate you taking that approach.
But I love Braun Strowman. I love Triple H. I love Finn Balor and I love Samoa Joe. Kurt Angle's a ton of fun too.
He is a ton of fun. But I agree with you. I think SmackDown's going to take it. Overall, I think SmackDown's going to be coming out looking a little better than Raw.
Right.
But I also feel they need to.
Right.
Everybody still says, Raw is the A show. Raw is the flagship show. And SmackDown's the B show.
Right.
They need that. They need that type of boost and that type of win. So I think overall we're going to see a little bit more SmackDown winning. And in the ultimate main event, we're going to see SmackDown take it over. I feel we're both agreeing Shinsuke is going to be one of the survivors.
Right.
I'm going Bobby Roode. You think John Cena? I think that's a little bit of a safe bet, but whatever.
John Cena hasn't even been on TV to be like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So
ultimately, though, I think it's going to be a ton of fun. 4 hours on a Sunday night.
Right.
I think it's going to be a fantastic. It's like I said, it's like this card is one of the most exciting cards of the year that I've seen. Like I'm actually like usually we're coming in here like it's a 2-match card. It hasn't been a great build. This is fantastic.
It's
I'm energized
the
as a
whole
fan.
weekend.
As a fan, I am so energized for this. I think it's going to be a great weekend for WWE. Moving on to the Rasslin Rant. This basically broke the wrestling internet.
It did.
Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom 12 is basically in the Tokyo Dome.
Yep.
I mean, how much more can we add on to this?
Yeah.
It is giant.
For the IWGP United States Championship.
Now, as someone who admittedly casually dips into New Japan Pro Wrestling, but you're really into New Japan.
I am.
I'm going to defer to you on this one. Tell me why this is the most important wrestling match of this last decade at least.
The reason is, and I've talked about New Japan Pro Wrestling on this show before. You can look back when we talked about the U.S. show that they did when Kenny Omega was crowned the IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion.
Weekend of wrestling.
Another fun weekend of wrestling. This match is important because there is such great wrestling happening in Japan, and if you ask 10 wrestling fans if they watch New Japan, 8 will say yes, and only 2 are telling the truth. That's just the way wrestling works.
6 of them are just being cool for the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the way wrestling works.
God, at least I'm honest.
On the internet, right. It's just the way that it works.
I have a DVR on Access, but I only occasionally dip into it.
Right, exactly. And so having New Japan have a reason for you to go and seek it out, this is that reason. Because Shinsuke Nakamura, again, you ask 10 people who Shinsuke Nakamura is, 8 say they know who he is, 2 are telling the truth. And now he comes to, it's the same thing with Finn Balor. Nobody knew who Prince Devitt was.
Right.
Nobody. And then he showed up and he had the face paint and people started looking at him and they see his Wrestle Kingdom 8 entrance.
Sure.
And it's just like, oh my God, this guy's so cool and this is why. And I'm a huge fan. And it's just like, you weren't a fan a year and a half ago.
I am the biggest Finn Balor fan. Look how crisp and new my t-shirt is.
Yeah, right. Right, same deal. And so the reason is that all of these people have come to WWE.
Yeah.
So Gallows and Anderson, you've heard about them. They come here. You're a huge fan of theirs. Shinsuke Nakamura, he comes here. You're a huge fan. Finn Balor, he comes here, huge fan. This is the first time that you're going to actively seek out Wrestle Kingdom.
Right.
Because Chris Jericho.
Because Chris Jericho invented hype.
Yeah, Chris Jericho is the greatest professional wrestler of all time. That's probably the answer.
Man lives his gimmick.
He has had more longevity than anybody because people hated Hulk Hogan for periods of time.
Right.
Rock stopped wrestling. Stone Cold stopped wrestling. Like, Chris Jericho has been a draw in the wrestling business for so long. And then has reinvented himself a million different times. He's now no longer the list Chris Jericho, and he is now the alpha Chris Jericho. And it's insane that this man can reinvent himself in that way.
I think that's the biggest testament to Chris Jericho.
Right.
Because over the years, that has been what he's done. Every time he's come back, while it's still Chris Jericho, it's not that Chris Jericho.
Right.
So you got to relearn who this character is and what he's trying to accomplish. And each time, it's been the best thing on TV. The list, the Kevin Owens, the Festival of Friendship, fantastic. Must-see
Heel,
TV.
face, he flips back and forth, it doesn't matter. And Kenny Omega, according to the wrestling internet, is the hottest act in wrestling. So now you have the hottest act in wrestling
Let me
right
guess,
now.
Meltzer loves him.
Yeah, he has a 6-star match. Kenny Omega is great. He is great. And Chris Jericho wanting to wrestle him is a reason in and of itself to watch Wrestle Kingdom. But this is just a great way to realize that there is wrestling outside of WWE. And there's great wrestling outside of WWE. If you're watching this live or you're watching this on Friday in Woburn at the Elks Lodge in Woburn, Chaotic Wrestling will be having tonight, Friday night, they will be having a show. Go and check them out. There is so much wrestling outside of WWE that is quality wrestling in the New England area. Beyond Wrestling. Beyond Wrestling is a great promotion where you'll see a lot of these independent guys that are on the national circuit come through. It's worth checking them out. So, an
affordable night out. Affordable, fun night out.
Right. You're going to go and spend $10 to $15 on a ticket, if that. And then you're going to watch a ton of awesome wrestling. There's going to be beer there if that's your thing, and if not, there are certain promotions like a Chaotic Wrestling that are family friendly, so you can bring the kids if, they are into wrestling and it's worth it. And then watching something like a Wrestle Kingdom 12, everybody immediately wants to compare New Japan to WWE.
That's just it's a casual fan thing.
It's a casual fan thing.
Even I did it with what was it, Velveteen Dream? When I was talking, compare him to main roster. Most people, most casual fans, the average viewer, only watch Raw and SmackDown.
Right. And so it's not a better or worse thing because they're so different.
Sure.
And just to expand your horizon as to what wrestling is and what wrestling can be, and Chris Jericho is going to bring a lot of people to put eyes on New Japan.
When is New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom?
January 4th. It is January 4th every year.
Okay.
That is just the date that it is.
That's Wrestle Kingdom.
Whatever day that it's on, that's the day that it's on.
Now, when it goes live in Japan,
it is 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And
I will be up.
How would someone watch that?
It is very simple. They have New Japan World. It is the equivalent of the WWE Network.
Okay.
If you have Google Chrome, it is translated.
You can shoot it out to your TV.
And you can you can watch it right there, and you can shoot it out to your TV through AirPlay or Chromecast or whatever. If you have Chromecast, the app works.
Okay.
So it actually works better with Chromecast than it does with Apple TV.
And it has the translation for you.
And it has the translation. Well, all of their big shows have English commentary. So
with our boy Cyrus, right?
yes, I think he does a lot of the smaller shows. JR
Cyrus loves when I put him over on the show.
JR, I think, might be doing this one
He
again.
does the Access one, doesn't he?
He does the Access one,
there's
and
like
he
3
does
versions
Wrestle
of it.
Kingdom.
Yeah,
He does
okay.
Wrestle Kingdom. He did it last year. He'll likely do it again.
Okay.
And
So 3 o'clock in the morning, January 4th. We know where to find you.
yeah, I'll be up.
If I'm up, I'll probably join you. So follow us on Twitter at Mike Wendt, at Liam NAI for Wrestle Kingdom 12, because it's going to be, like I said, the biggest match as far as wrestling fans are concerned in like the decade.
Yes, it is.
Now, what would you say? So we bring it back to WrestleMania or WWE. What kind of implications would this have? Could this potentially transfer over?
For the Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho to the WWE, yeah.
Because Jericho, I listened to, he did an interview with Bully Ray and Larry Dallas on Busted Open Radio on Sirius. And he said he's got a great relationship with WWE. He's not currently under contract, but he has a great relationship, a very open door policy with him.
Right.
This isn't going to hurt Chris Jericho and WWE.
And it shouldn't.
They were arguing this might actually even help further this into WWE. Do you ever see something like what's the odds of Kenny Omega? There was rumblings at the last Rumble of Kenny Omega. It turned out to be AJ Styles. That same one. It was like 2 years ago. What are the odds of Kenny Omega ending up in WWE?
I think that there's a possibility. I mean, he has the best shot of anybody on the current New Japan roster just because he's a native English speaker. So
both guys from Winnipeg, by the way.
Yes.
Both Winnipeg guys. A little bit of trivia I learned from that interview as well. This is actually Jericho's first match outside of WWE since 1999.
That is correct.
That's a long run.
That is huge. I mean, it's crazy that he's
never done an independent show.
Nope.
He's never shown up at an ROH show. He's never done anything. But this is the first one. He's also doing the Jericho Cruise, which is always nice. But but this is the first match outside of WWE since he debuted in that fantastic fashion in '99.
Yeah.
That he's done, and I think he picked the right one, I guess.
Right. I mean, he picked the right person.
First match out, and it's literally the biggest match of the decade.
It is. It is. And I think that right now Ring of Honor and New Japan have this talent exchange program where they show
the
up.
Bullet Club bounces
back and forth.
Okay.
And so I think that WWE would benefit a lot from having that type of talent exchange, because I don't think that, Okada coming to WWE is necessarily a good idea. Mm-hmm. Just look at how Shinsuke Nakamura hasn't kind of hit his stride on the main roster.
They don't handle performers fantastically if English is a second language.
Right. Where Shinsuke Nakamura doesn't need to speak.
But they try to make him.
But they try to make him, and they try to build that around. And so it's the same thing where it's like Okada is one of the best wrestlers on the planet right now. Sure. And having him come to WWE.
How do you bring that into a storyline?
See, that's where you're able to have that's where the cross exchange is, where it's like, we're not necessarily doing this for active storylines.
Right.
We're doing this as a one-off.
Right.
And you can have that be a part of the storyline, or give him an English-speaking manager for a little bit.
Funaki's available.
Yeah, Funaki's available.
All right, so that is the Rasslin Rant. This was Survivor Series. NXT TakeOver is tomorrow night.
Yeah.
War Games. But coming up December 17th.
Yes.
Here in Boston at the TD Garden, Clash of Champions. It's going to be a SmackDown exclusive show.
Yes.
Clash of Champions, another WCW idea coming over to WWE.
We're also getting Starrcade, but not actually getting Starrcade.
Is this just more of that? Because we know how much Triple H loved Dusty.
Right.
Is that Triple H kind of like his influence finally bleeding a little bit further over into main roster stuff?
Yeah.
Like we know that he's always had Vince's ear. We know that the whole relationship and his position in the company, et cetera, et cetera. But it's been one of those things that fans have always said, when is he finally going to take the lead?
Yeah.
Seeing all of these WCW ideas coming to fruition, Clash of Champions, War Games, Starrcade.
Yeah.
And knowing his relationship with Dusty, who created all of these.
Well, it's like, and Triple H has even talked about how big of a historical wrestling fan he is. And so, yeah, that's a huge part of it. Where it's like, you have all of these properties, right? So use them.
Use them.
Use them.
For more than just archive footage.
Right. I think that it's I don't believe it as hardly as my co-host on the New Age Insiders, Jason Maltov, does. But the fact that Starrcade is not going to be televised in any way, shape, or form is depressing. Like, it's not depressing, but it's disappointing. It's disappointing because you should show more house shows. You know, there should be a special on the network.
That, but I mean, who knows? They might do it next year.
Right. You know, there should be a special.
If it works, it comes back. We saw it with King of the Ring.
That's true.
You know,
but I think that the WWE should have a monthly show where it's just like the best of the house show matches, and that would be a ton of fun.
Maybe they will. Maybe they will when they hire us to book the network. But that's going to come to Boston December 17th. That'll be the next time you'll be seeing us for Clash of Champions. Yes. I am Mike Wendt, Liam Stryker. Follow us on Twitter at Mike Wendt, at Liam NAI. Thank you for joining us on That Wrestling Show live right here on NESN, and we'll see you next month.
Bye, everybody.